Hey, welcome back to Low Ballin' Outdoors. I'm Alex. Well, today we're going to be talking about two of the greatest cartridges ever for whitetail deer, the 30-06 and the 270. Which one is better for whitetail? Well, today we're going to be talking about a few points and why I think the 270 beats the 30-06. Both cartridges are extremely capable to take whitetail deer. Let's talk about some of the reasons why the 270 is better. Now, most generally, the guys that are using the 270 are shooting 130 grain projectiles. Dealer's choice. There's a whole bunch of bullets that work fantastic. The odd 6 guys, generally, they're shooting 180 grains all the way up to 200, 220, something like that. So the 270 is going to have a much lighter recoil than the 30-06, and basically they have the same case. I mean, if you had a bunch of 30-06 brass, you could make 270. If you had a bunch of 270 brass, you could make 30-06. Just the head stamps would be wrong. The brass is almost interchangeable, but the only difference is that neck down portion. Can you see that? The 30-06 is slightly bigger, and I mean slightly. We're talking about the 270 doesn't even go into that 30-06 case. That's how close they are, guys. So a lot of the things, it just comes down to a little bit skinnier bullet, a little lighter projectile. So it's gonna shoot flatter. It's gonna recoil less. A handicap of the 270 is there's not a wide range of projectiles that you can use as far as grain weights. It roughly can go up to 150 grains. Now, I know a lot of the new 6.8 stuff is definitely coming with some faster twist barrels, and therefore we're coming out with a whole bunch of 270 bullets that are heavier. But right now for the 270, they generally will take 130 grain bullet or 150 rather well. And that stabilizes pretty good. And that is a perfect grain weight for a whitetail deer. You'll get a great punch through with a 270, through and through, no problems, right through the boiler room. Some of the guys that like the 30-06 will be like, well, I just need a bigger pill. And if you do, that's great. If you want a one and done, then probably, yeah, 30-06 is better. So you can take moose or, you know, some of the bigger, larger animals in North America. The 30-06 is definitely better in that aspect because we can go all the way up to the higher 200 plus grain projectiles. Now, just for whitetail deer, is that really necessary? I personally don't think so. Now, one of the biggest arguments a lot of the 30-06 guys say is, well, we have a wide variety of bullets that we can use, which is true. From 95 grains all the way up to 225. You're not loading a 95 grain bullet in a case that's this big. You're just not doing it. And if you are, you're just burning lots of powder. You're not going to be as accurate as a varmint cartridge, because that's essentially what you're doing. The twist rate of your barrel is going to be off. It's going to start spraying them. You're not going to be as accurate. So that, to me, that point is kind of moot. It doesn't really hold water. People that shoot the 30-06 are going to go with 180 grains or a 200 grain bullet. It's just the way it is. It works great in the 30-06, so why change it? Now, speaking of projectiles and hand loading, I will tell you this, for a 270, the 48-31 shortcut is the only way to go. I've tried tons and tons of different powders. The 270 loves that. It's a little more picky, and I have loaded for, shoot, 5 or 6 different rifles, and that shortcut is the only powder that seems to group rather well. My 270 with Federal Blue Box factory ammunition will shoot 1 inch at 100 yards. That's pretty good for the cheapest box of bullets that you can get. So when it comes to hand loading, we want to try to beat that, obviously. 48-31 shortcut seems to be that ticket. Now, the 30-06 is way easier to hand load for. There's a plethora of different kind of bullets, but it's just not as picky. It'll eat RL-15, it'll eat that 48-31 shortcut or 48-31, and there's a whole bunch of different ones. We're not going to name off every single powder the 30-06 likes, but it is less picky. So if you're going for that, okay, yeah, 30-06, way easier to hand load for than the 270. But once you get your load for the 270, I don't generally ever change it unless I'm going to change bullets or something like that, and then it's only gonna be like a half a grain or something different. That's not that big, because you should be checking all this stuff and picking the correct bullet for your game. And honestly, when it comes to hand loading, that is the most important thing, picking the correct bullet for the type of game that you're gonna be hunting. So that pretty much sums it up. And of course, all this is personal choice. A 270, in my opinion, beats out the 30-06 for whitetail deer. They're pushing about 3,000 feet per second, but some loads can go even a little faster than that. They're flatter shooting than the 06, and they still carry the power downrange to take out a whitetail very, very easily. And there's not as much recoil. And I used to not worry about that so much, but since I had my shoulder and arm surgery, I'm a little bit recoil sensitive, if you know what I mean. I like the little bit lighter recoil on me nowadays. Guys, tell me what you think. 30-06 or 270 in the comments. Let's go. And until next time, keep it cheap. Now, with all that being said, the 06 does have a pretty good track record of, you know, winning 2 world wars and stuff. So there's that.